Alright, this is, I'm getting ready to glaze my teapot, but I want to make sure all the fine dust is removed, so I'm just doing that with a damp sponge again. So I'm just wiping with a little bit of water, just trying to make sure it's all clean before I get ready to glaze it. Alright, I'm going to start by painting the background color for my ocean, and then I'm going to paint the inside and bottom of my teapot, or inside and bottom of my lid, before I start painting all the detail work. So for the color of the background, I've chosen this Monsoon Seas, which is a blue and green, which looks really nice. And these Saks True Flow crystal glazes are comparable to the Jungle Gems. In fact, the Jungle Gems has a Monsoon Seas, which looks almost exactly the same. Alright, so I've shook this up really well to try to dislodge the crystals that a lot of times get stuck at the bottom. And so I'm actually pouring quite a bit in here just to make sure I get those crystals again from the bottom. And then I can always just pour this back into the cup. So I like these little cups. I don't ever fill them this much for my students, but since I'm trying to get these crystals mixed in to make sure I get the full benefits of this crystal glaze. All right, so we're going to start with the lid. And I do have some black underglaze that I shaded with. I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not with these glazes. It was a technique that I saw on an article, so I figured I could always try it, and then if it didn't show up, it wouldn't be a big deal. Alright, so that is what this is going to start looking like. It's dry. I'm going to get a small brush to fill in these little spaces, and then I'm going to do the recommended 3 coats, and then I'll start thinking about how I'm going to paint all the details. Alright, I'm letting my second coat dry, and then I'm going to do my third coat, and I'm not really worried about where the color is getting where I don't want it. My big concern is making sure that everywhere I want glaze to gets glazed, because my pet peeve is when there's one random unglazed bisque spot like glaring at me when the glaze process is finished. So where these areas are, if they overlap and a weird chemical mixture happens, I'm cool with that. If they stay blue like they're in the ocean, I'm cool with that. My main concern is trying to get all the colors down in an interesting way where I get some interesting depth and things happening. So I'm really excited, and I see lots of crystals here. Much better than the last time I used this glaze. I think it did really help to shake it up really good and then pour a good amount out to make sure that some of those crystals that I had dislodged made it into the cup. Okay, while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and start my first coat on my teapot. Alright, so I'm going to be switching colors as I get further down the teapot. And again, I'm okay with colors overlapping and doing weird chemical things. So I'm just kind of letting this flow down into a different level on each one where they'll meet the next glaze. Alright, I'm going to finish painting this up, and then I am going to finish the last coat of this color on the lid, and then I'll start looking at what colors I'm going to be doing for the actual, for all this of the sea life. I have an idea, but what I need to do is compare my idea to my glaze tiles and see which colors are going to turn out the way that I want this to look. So I'm trying to get some depth in here, so I will be playing around with layering of colors and whatnot and experimenting as well. All right, I have finished the background color for my teapot. And these crystal glazes are not food safe necessarily. So what I'm doing is I'm coating all the interior surfaces of the teapot with the food safe Wonder Glaze. So that is what I'm doing now for the next step of this project. And what I did was I just picked the darkest that I could find because I wanted it to contrast. Alright, so you can see this is the rim part that I'm leaving unglazed to sit on the stilts. And I'm going to do 3 coats on this, and I'm going to do 3 coats on the inside of the teapot and then on the bottom ring of the teapot. And then I'll be ready to do the rest of the decorative glazing. I have the main colors for my background done, and I did look up some stuff to see how these 2 colors would interact. I think it's going to do what I want. Normally I would, especially my students, like we would create some test tiles, but I don't really have time for that. So I am flying in the wind and just running by the seat of my pants here. And so I am just going to try it out. And last thing I'm going to do for the background is try to highlight some of the slip work that I did with the slip trailing using some dry brush techniques. And then I'll start painting the different wildlife that's left. Alright, so now it's time for detail work. Some of this will be done with the crystal glazes, and some will be done with plain Mako glazes. They are safe to use together according to the website, although some of the results may vary. So it's kind of exciting for me because I'm just diving straight in with these colors and seeing what happens. So I'm going to go pick out my colors and start painting. Alright, so what I did yesterday was after I finished painting the background color of the teapot, I went and looked up all the sea life that was in my that was on my teapot, and I looked at the different colors that each of them had, and then I compared that to all of my different glaze tiles that I had made during week 6 of the course, and found colors that would work well to for each of the animals and each of the plants. So right now what I'm doing is painting the octopus tentacles, and this is one of the crystallized glazes that has little white dots in it, and so it ends up being like this pinkish purple with white dots in it. And I actually saw a picture, quite a few pictures actually, of one of the types of octopus that has these colors. In fact, I was almost like amazed at how closely it resembled the glaze tile that I had created for this color. So I'm really excited about that. And so I'm going to paint all of the tentacles this color, and then I have actually picked out all of the other colors and have them set out and labeled according to what those colors go on to help me jog my memory. And then I also have different images that I've saved in case I need them. So I'm going to finish painting up this octopus tentacles first coat and then let it dry. And once I've gotten the 3 coats on this, I'll paint all of the other octopus tentacles as well. Alright, I have finished doing 3 coats of this crystal glaze on my octopus tentacles for the lid. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the teapot for both the handle and the tentacles that go around the spout. See that I started painting some coral there. That's with a Mako stroke and coat. So there will not be any crystal glazes with that. So I'm only doing crystal glazes for a few things, but not all of them. I have got all of the tentacles painted on both the teapot and the lid. And I've begun to paint the starfish. I have also finished painting my seashells. So some of these are being painted with crystal glazes, and some are being painted with plain ordinary Mako stroke and coat with no crystals. And so here you can see the paint that's been done so far on the shell. So once I get everything painted, I'll just do touch-ups, and then this will all be ready to fire. So I'm giving everything at least 3 coats, and then I'm doing some areas where more than one glaze overlap. With the Mako stroke and coat, I know exactly what to expect. I've done this a lot where I layer colors and create like ombres and stuff. But I do not have as much experience layering these crystal glazes. Normally I would do a bunch of test tiles, but since time is limited, that wasn't an option. So I kind of did a little research, and I'm hoping that these colors will look really good and really bring out some of the slip designs that are harder to see right now as they interact. I'm getting ready to do the inside of my starfish, and I did Mako stroke and coat on the outside of it, and then I'm going to put this Jungle Gems firecracker on the inside to give it some of the texture. And this is going to be like closer to a red, and then I did an orange on the outside because that's a common mixture for starfish. So I'm going to get ready to do the coats on this, and then I'm going to keep painting the coral and whatever sea life is left. I've made quite a bit of progress with the glaze on my teapot. I finished my starfish on both of the pieces. The lid is completely done except for a few touch-ups. And then you can see I have painted a lot of these things. This glaze actually turns green for the turtle. And then all of these that are done with the Mako stroke and coat, I have most of them are done with 2 colors to get a sense of depth. So that's something that I've done before and been successful at, so I know it'll look okay. And so all that's left here, I have to finish this coral right here, the fish, and then these coral right here.